Hello, good morning. And can someone please tell me if this is upside down if you are on live with me? I don't know why I have all these technical difficulties, but well, I do know why. It's because I basically don't make sure that I have all my technology in place the night before I'm supposed to do a live. And instead of putting this off, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. By the urging of a friend of mine, and my friend and fellow demonstrator, Jennifer. So, I'm hoping this is not upside down, and I can't even see if someone's online, if someone is watching. So I'm just going to go with it. How about that? So hello, welcome to What Am I Stamping Wednesday? I am focusing on page 71, and the concept artists at Stampin Up use the Forever Fern stamp set for these 3 beautiful cards. And basically it's like a step it up. If you're a casual stamper or you don't have a lot of supplies, then you can do this quick and easy card, which I think is really pretty. And if you have a few more supplies, like the stamp set and the coordinating dies that go with the Forever Fern, the Forever Flourishing die set, you can actually make it a little bit more, just more, I guess. Just stepping it up a bit and adding the cutouts. These were die cut. There's a little bit of die cut, tone on tone. And I believe this is crumb cake. I'm actually going to be using similar colors, but not the exact same colors. But this one is really stepped up, and you have a lot more going on, a lot more texture and the dies and everything. So there's a lot going on here. I'm actually going to do a hybrid and create a couple of different cards. I'm going to tell you I did not create this in advance, so I don't have a sample to show you. And the reason I didn't is because I want you, again, to see kind of my thought process and how I go about things, and how I go about like designing all of my my cards using the catalog as inspiration. And that's pretty much what my one of my Stamping Wednesdays are for. So let's go ahead and get to it. Like I said, I am going to start with my card base, and this is Sahara Sand. And then I'm going to actually see if I can keep this in view so we can all kind of use it as a reference so that you know kind of what I'm doing. So can you see that? Okay, I'm going to slip it kind of up under my blends so you can kind of see what the pictures are and what I'm doing. So, all right, so here we have my card base, and I have pre-cut little squares like this, which are going to go onto my card. But see, I did kind of pre-prep. So I have this, and it's going to be kind of like a window pane of sorts. So let me show you what I'm going to do with these little squares. So I'm going to get my mini embossing cut machine. Actually, I think this is more, no, it is an embossing cut machine. You can emboss. We do have some embossing folders so that you can emboss and cut, hence the name, which is plenty. I went ahead and, oh, these are the colors that I'm using. I am using, if you can see, I'm using Old Olive, Calypso Coral, Bumble Bee, and Just Jade. I don't know if that's in camera. There you go. All right, so I am not cutting Old Olive, but I do have strips of Just Jade, Calypso Coral, and Bumble Bee. And what I'm going to do is I am going to take a strip of my cardstock. Do it that way so it's more in view. It would help if I put down both sides. All right, so I have Calypso Coral, and I have number 1 cutting plate, or excuse me, number 1 is the platform. Number 2 is the cutting plate. I put my cardstock down, and I'm going to put one of the dies And the dies I'm using are from all, you know what? I just lost it. I'm using the All Squared Away stamp set, and the dies I'm using are not handy to me at the moment. I will look it up, and I'll probably even put a link in there so that you can see it. I kind of feel like I'm a little out of it today, probably because I was focusing on the technology aspect and not making sure that everything else was taken care of. So we are going to just do this and crank it. Kind of hard to crank on the side. But you guys are awesome and sticking with me and my little craziness. I think instead of being the Celtic stamper, I should be the hot mess stamper. What do you think? I mentioned that to my friend in Australia, and she thought that was funny. And I think she probably thought that was pretty appropriate. So, because I kind of feel like I'm a hot mess at times. But you know what? The great thing is I kind of keep it real. So, all right. So that's the one die. I'm going to put in my Just Jade. Pop that little die, number 2, on top, and I'm going to go ahead and see this through. I love this little embossing and die cut machine because it is compact. The nice thing is it does fold up, and you can actually take it with you, and it's so super light. So I use this as much as I can. And that way, you know, I don't have to pull out the big one. The big one's actually not so bad. It's funny because my friend Jennifer, she calls it Big Boss. So I'm going to use that term, Big Boss. I'm going to dub this one Little Boss. So, and I'm just kind of taking, I'm going to show you what I'm doing before I actually glue it down because I want to make sure that, number one, it comes out. So I'm just kind of getting the little kind of, yeah, those little things. I'm getting them off with my paper snips because you know what? I looked really hard to find my take your pick tool, and I couldn't find it. There are 2 places I could have put it. It's not there, and I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and order another one, which is so me. I find things that I order and they're kind of duplicated, so I don't do it often, but when I know that I really need something, and if it's something that I know I can use or even just pass along to somebody else, like if, you know, I have friends that do favors for me and I just kind of like, hey, you know what, here, take this because you don't have one and you did something amazing for me and because I like ya. So there you go. And then they try it and then they're like, oh, I have to get one of these myself. I'm like, well, you just have one for yourself. But then they kind of pay it forward. Okay, so I have those 3. A little loud. So I have those 3 cut out and I put them on the squares. And how cute is that? They're basically just, you know, framing the white. The white makes the flowers pop off of the Sahara Sand paper. But I do want to stamp a greeting in here. And like I said, I am using the All Squared Away stamp set. And let's see. I'm going to, looks like this one doesn't have a label. Okay, I may have taken a stamp set, put it together, and did not put the label on my last stamp. So we are going to kind of be surprised as to what this says. I know what it says because I can read it, but I'm going to let you be surprised. All right. All right, this stamp set's kind of giving me problems. It's a mess today too. Check it out. All right, I'm going to pull this off so that I can actually put it on the grid paper, see if I can line it up and be, I don't want to say perfect because nothing's perfect. And you know what? I'm okay if things aren't perfect because you just kind of go with it. So I just kind of want to line it up, see if it'll go in the middle. Hey, look at that. Happiest birthdays to you. And this was done in Old Olive. Is it upside down or is it not upside down? Can you tell me? Sorry. I'm trying to see if I can see your comments. Okay, so hey Gail, good morning. Thank you for joining me. Jennifer, thank you for joining me. And oh my gosh, it is upside down. That's crazy. Okay, I can finally see the screen. And you know, a few minutes into this live, and I feel like I'm not such a mess, which is great. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my glue dots. And I'm gonna glue these down onto the pieces of paper or onto the pieces of white. So what I'm gonna do with the glue dots, I'm just gonna strategically put them in the larger spaces. This is where my take a pick tool would really come in handy. Getting these glue dots off. But you know what? That's the great thing about paper snips. I love that they're small, they're really thin, they can get into small places. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and flip this over. Actually, make sure it's lined up. Perfect. And this is why I didn't put the glue dots in the corners, because inevitably the white is going to be off center and it's not going to be absolutely straight. And I'm okay with it because when you flip it over, it's absolutely fine. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing with the Calypso Coral. And let's see, I'm not talking much. It's weird, me not talking, what? I guess I'm just really concentrating on this because I love this stat. And I have not used it. I've had it for about a year and I haven't used it. And honestly, these What Am I Stamping Wednesdays has really forced me to start using stuff that I have in my collection that I normally wouldn't do, because I like to collect. I finally figured it out. I like to collect pretty things, and all of Stampin' Up stuff is pretty. So instead of flipping this over, I'm gonna, hello, why didn't I figure this out sooner? I'm going to put it right there. Look at that. It might take me a minute. So we have Calypso Coral, we have Bumble Bee, and now I'm gonna go ahead and do the Just Jade and put more of these little glue dots. What is your favorite adhesive? If you had to pick one adhesive for all your projects, what would it be? And keep in mind that some of our adhesives are pretty versatile. So like these glue dots, if you need to put something like really in a really small space, you can roll them up, you can cut them, you can tear them apart. And that's really cool because, you know, it goes everywhere. And if you're rolling them, it gives it a little bit of dimension. Not as big as dimensionals, but it's something. So I have to say, honestly, I love glue dots. Okay. Have one more. So let's see. Let's put it there. I didn't know if people check their emails early in the morning, but I sent out an email, a kind of a newsletter this morning, letting everyone know that Stampin' Up! Has added or refreshed, updated their clearance rack. And there was a kit on there called Sharing Joy. Oh my gosh, it's a Christmas card kit. It is so super cute and it's kind of elegant. It does have gold foil in it. And you know, I'm resisting ordering it, but I think I'm going to have to order it. And I think I don't even know what the price is. I think it's originally like $19 and maybe it's $12 now. But it's super cute, gold foil, and it would make your Christmas card making so quick and easy. All right, so now we have our card base. And now that we have these little guys, look how pretty that is. we can actually put them anywhere. We don't have to put them in the middle, although to me, it kind of looks better in the middle. So I'm going to take, instead of my Stampin' Seal, I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal Plus. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to have a little bit more strength, especially because the glue dots are pretty strong. And so I want to make sure that these stay down as best as possible. And I really think that the Stampin' Seal Plus does that. There you go. And what I'm going to do is, once I'm finished with this card a little bit, I'm actually going to post links in the comments so that you can go directly to my store. If you don't already have a demonstrator, if you aren't already a demonstrator and you like what you see, then yeah, just go to my store and you can actually see what you need to purchase to, you know, the stamp set mostly to create this card. So I'm going to turn this upside down for me, but for you, it's going to be right side up just so you can see how amazing it is. So Stampin' Seal, you love Stampin' Seal, Jennifer. I know you're kind of a whiz with that Stampin' Seal. I love it. All right, so this card is done. I'm going to do a second card. Now, keep in mind, I haven't really prepped for it, but I just wanted to, I did prep a little bit, but I didn't create a card because I wanted to see if my vision is going to match what I can do. But let me bring in my pal, my Stamparatus. And oh my gosh, I have not used this much, but I'm using it more. I love it. And the reason I'm using it more is because I've learned I need to keep it close by. I need to keep it on my workspace so that it actually gets used. And this is the perfect reason why I brought it in. So you can see that I have put on this side of the stamp plate. So the Stamparatus comes with 2 plates, and you can actually stamp 1 and then stamp 2, which is really cool. So I've already pre-sized my paper. This is a 4x4 piece of basic white, and I use the magnet not to hold the paper in place, but I use it as a guide. I use the Stampin' Up logo down here and the magnet just to kind of line up my paper and hope that it kind of stays in place. And it's been good for me. I've not had any problems with it, so I'm actually, I'm okay with it. So I have my Calypso Coral, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one of these corners, and I'm going to very easily or gently, I'm going to ink just that corner using the corner of my stamp pad. I'm going to do it again. Looks like it needs a little bit more ink. This is where the Stampin' Spots really come in handy. You get a different color Stampin' Spot in your Paper Pumpkin kit if you're a subscriber, which is really cool because then you can build up your collection. And I believe we have some spots in the catalog. I'd have to look. Really bad that I don't already know that. Okay, so now I'm going to pull out Just Jade. I'm going to put the Just Jade in this corner here. Let's see. You got to have the music because it makes things go so much better, so much easier. Just kidding. I love the Just Jade because you can see how saturated the stamp is. And these stamps, it makes it really easy to actually apply in just a little bit in the corner. All right, now we have the Old Olive. I should have opened these ahead of time. I'm having a problem because I'm a what? I'm a mess. Okay, I said that one day on stage when I was presenting at one of the Stampin' Up events, and I think everyone was laughing. But it's true. How many of us can relate to the fact that we are a mess at certain times? Okay, this one looks like it needs a little bit more ink, this Old Olive. And it looks like I kind of went into that, but that's okay. I'm not worried about it. All right, so now we're going to do the bumblebee. And with the bumblebee, I'm going to show you something. I don't want the bumblebee so dark. And the reason why is, I'll tell you in a minute. All right, so with the bumblebee, I'm actually going to do a stamp off, which means that you don't want it so saturated with color. So I'm just taking my fingers, taking a piece of cardstock, which is going to be kind of cool because I can actually use this later. It'll be considered a scrap. So, hey, look at that. It's really cool. It took off some of the ink, maybe a little too much, but that's okay. So now I'm going to stamp, push down, and make sure that I get a good contact with the paper. And there you go. So this didn't come out like I had expected it to. So what I'm going to do is do the bumblebee again. And since it is, I don't think it's going to be too dark for what I want to do. But if it is, then I'm going to kind of fix it and do something different, which is fine. Because this is why we stamp together on Wednesdays. And I show you that there are really no mistakes in stamping. There's only opportunities, right? Okay, that is so much better. I like that. Since it's dark, then I'm going to change what I'm stamping. I'm gonna cover this up. Yes, I have all these different little squares next to me. Like I said, I prepped, but I didn't design. And I have, if you can see, I have this stamp here with the sentiment on it. I'm going to use Old Olive. I'm just inking it up. Again, this is where really Stampin' Spots really do come in handy. And I'm going to just stamp here. Cool. All right. You know what? I'm going to check something. Bear with me. I'm going to do something just to see if it works. I'm going to see if I can stamp directly onto this. I set it up so that I could. Did not test this. Again, I wanted the bumblebee to be a little bit lighter, which is why I took some of the ink off. But because everything is turning out kind of dark, let me see. This might need to be moved down just a tad for this. Yep. Cute. Okay, so I have this way, but then I also have this, which I think I'm going to cut out. I think one of the hot trends in greetings or sentiments is actually cutting them out and just having a little bit of the white showing. Just outlining it a little bit. Okay. I would not be a good broadcaster, newscaster, or anything because there's a lot of dead air and I'm not talking. I'm really trying to concentrate. So there we go. All right. And that can just go there and it can cover up what I've already stamped and then I can add bling or what. So I'm going to move my Stamparatus out of the way. Thank you, Stamparatus. And oh my gosh, I love that these plates come off and I can just kind of scooch them to the other side. And I can actually put this so that I can clean it a little bit later, but not too much later. So now I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Trimmer, something I can't live without. I love this trimmer. It is a workhorse. And I'm going to, because I originally cut this at 4x4, I'm going to cut this and do 2x2s. And so cut it 2. It just makes it super easy. And that's the one thing I love about the Stamparatus is that you can kind of line things up and make it easy. Because really we're all about making quick and easy cards. So there you go. There are my squares. And then I actually, so I have another card base here. And let's see, Gail, could you use your Stampin' Blends to ink up those stamps? That's a really good question. Unfortunately not, because the Stampin' Blends are alcohol based. They will not stick to the stamps. They'll dry, and they may even damage the rubber. You definitely want to use an ink-based stamp, ink, water-based ink, or even a pigment ink for the stamps. But yeah, no, just the alcohol markers, it would evaporate before you can actually put it on the paper. So I hope that makes sense. All right, I actually went ahead and let's bring in our sheet, our inspiration sheet here. So I'm going to do it upside down for you, or upside down for me, but right side up for you, so you can actually see it. We did this card, which is very similar. Let me see. I just lost my card. How is that even possible? Okay, here it is. So this one's kind of a hybrid of this and this, because I did use the dies like the second card, but it's very simple, very easy to do. There was very little stamping, but I did use the dies to bring in some of the color like on this card. So I would say this is more like this card. Now my inspiration is going to be more of this card. Because I really do like the background. I don't have that background handy. I'm sure I have it somewhere, but it's not to be found. So I decided to use this one. And if you can believe it, I do know what this one's called. It's the Painted Texture 3D embossing folder. And the thing I like about this embossing folder is that it really does look 3D. Like, it has so much texture. It's not just the paper flat and then a little bit of dimension, but you have a layer on top of a layer on top of a layer. So you have a lot of dimension there, and I like it. Okay, so this is going to go down. I'm going to put Stampin' Seal. Oh, I kind of like that side better. All right, that's going to happen. I don't want my seal because my seal is out. I want my Seal Plus. And especially because this has a lot of dimension to it, I want it to stick. All right, so there you go. And you know what? I'm going to create this in your perspective. So I have it, it's down. Then I have these little squares, okay? So this can go here. I kind of think they're a little too, I think I'm back. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just use my paper snips to save on time, just to trim these up. I do like the white in there. Now, if I had more time, I don't want to bore you by pulling out my trimmer and trimming all 4 of them. I think it would honestly look a lot better, but I think for me, trying to line it up, it would take a little bit longer than me just snipping it and being happy with the results. So I am leaving a little bit of the border on here, just because I do like the white. I think on the inspiration, let me bring this back in. Obviously, I think these squares are a lot smaller than the one I'm using, and you can always cut your squares down. They might be just like a 2x2, but that's okay. I can even trim it and trim off this green, but I like it. And to me, it shows that it's handmade. And a handmade card is just so much more personal and so much more special than a store-bought card. I truly believe that. So I know I've told this story before, but my brother, and he may be watching, maybe listening, I'm not sure, but one of my brothers, he was not always the most sentimental person growing up. And he really didn't celebrate birthdays and Christmas and things like that. And I mean, this is when we were younger. He does now, and he is one of the most sentimental people I know. And he's like the best uncle because, you know, he texts my kid and, you know, just calls and checks in. And I mean, he's a great brother. So you know, we all change when we get older. But so since he really wasn't a sentimental person, I still sent him cards when I would send out cards regularly. And I went over to his house one day and we were just chit-chatting, and I saw this little basket under his. He actually had a collection of all the cards that I had sent him over the years. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he saved all these cards. And it really touched me because knowing that growing up, he wasn't that sentimental of a person, I was literally crying inside, and I may have even shed a tear in front of him. And, you know, he's kind of the person that just does a little smirk. So it was kind of cool, and it was just a moment for us. And I really appreciated that. So you never know who's going to enjoy your card, who's going to really take it to heart that you took the time to send a hand stamp card. So do it. You know, even if you just fold a piece of paper and write something on it, you know, and just put an envelope and send it off. So the awesome paper snips will give a nice straight-ish edge. Yes, and they did. I'm actually really happy with them. So you'll have to tell me when you actually see the card finished and when everything goes down. So I have that. And this is kind of lined up this way. I think I'm going to line it up this way. I do like the bubbles going vertical, and these little hash marks going vertical. And then I have, can't do that. I think I didn't figure out my colors and things like that, but that's okay. You guys know what I'm talking about. I probably would have put the squiggles here in the Calypso Coral and put the dots, the bubbles here. Yeah, so, but that's just me. All right, how are we liking it so far? Kristen, oh my gosh, Kristen, you have all the cards that Andy made you in my classes. Oh, I had so much fun in those guys' Valentine's Day card classes. And you know what? I'm going to do them again, Kristen, but I'm not going to tell you because I'm going to invite Andy, and you're going to be surprised when you get another hand stamp card. So that just really warms my heart. Thank you. All right. So I have these, but if you can look at the inspiration, there's tone on tone die cut, which is really cool. I went ahead and die cut some right here. And I don't know if I'm going to put them in because I don't know if they kind of work with it, but let's just see. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take these. I'm actually going to put them, dimensionalize them. I'm going to pop them up just in case I decide to use the die cuts that I did. And I really wish I could figure out what the die cuts are called. If anybody knows, if anyone already has those die cuts, please let me know in the comments. Oh, yes, please. Yes. I will make that happen for you, Kristen. Oh my gosh. You guys are so cute. And you know what? I remember one of the cards, and I hope you don't mind me telling this story, Kristen. Kristen loves gnomes. And Stampin' Up! Years ago had a gnome set. And when Andy saw it, because at my guys' Valentine card classes, I basically do not create a card for the guys to copy. They have to create a card on their own. I give them the tools, I give them the supplies, but the design is absolutely theirs. And most of the guys who came to the classes did not want red or pink for their wives. They wanted non-traditional colors because honestly, their wives are generally non-traditional people. So Kristen loves fall colors. She loves orange, she loves yellow, she loves green. And one of the things I love about Kristen. And so Andy created a yellow card with gnomes, and I loved it. And I think she may have even cried just a little. So, you know, things like that. That's why I do it. All right. So I'm just taking off the backing. This takes a lot of time taking this. Okay. Now I know why people don't use as many dimensionals as I do. Oh my gosh. This takes forever. But that's okay, because it bumps it up and it makes it look cool. Gives it dimension. All right, I'm almost finished, I promise. And thank you for hanging in there with me. I really appreciate it. And if you're catching the replay later, thank you for watching the replay later. All right, so we have, I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to put them up in the corner like this. I'm going to put this down like this. And maybe, can do that. Yep, I kind of like that. See, this is why I design all at the same time. So we're going to do this, and I'm going to put 2 more dimensionals underneath just to pop it up a little bit more. Because obviously this side is popped up more because it's popped up onto that. That might look a little wonky, but that's okay. You know what? Let me put 2 under here because it's sagging. You do not want a saggy card that hasn't been mailed yet. You kind of expect it when you get a card in the mail, but all right. Let me do a little bit of surgery here. I'm going to take this dimensional off that card. Not the card, but I'm going to take it off the square because it's going to look better. It looks so much better like that. All right, so I have that. I'm going to come in and use my Seal Plus. I do like that I can cover this up, so I'm going to do that. Just like that. And it does bring in a little bit more white because I think it was getting a little too tone on tone. But I'm going to bring the glue dots back in and get out my little handy dandy paper snips. Now, what I could have used for these little die cuts, I could have used the adhesive sheets. I think they're on back order right now, so I'm not sure. I'll have to check that inventory, but that definitely would have been good because then I can just kind of peel and stick. Peel and stick is good, like a sticker. All right, just a couple more glue dots, and I'll just kind of put these down. Little flowers. Flowers make everything happy. And we're just going to kind of tuck it under here. Gives a little dimension, but again, tone on tone is kind of cool. I don't know, what are you thinking so far? Do you like it? I actually really do. And to be honest, these are not my colors. They're Kristen's colors. But yeah, so we're going to put that there. Oh, I'm really happy with this card. Let's see. Just a couple more die cuts. Let's put this. I probably want to move this one up here into this corner, but that's all right. I'm going to tuck maybe that one there. I'm going to play around with this a little bit more, but you get the gist of it. Okay, here we go. And this is where the take a pick tool would come in handy, just lifting this off, but the paper snips work just as well. One tool for so many different things. Okay. Let's do that. And then I can actually bring out some bling and put it in the middle, but there you go. Speaking of bling, I wonder if I have some Wink Stella. Wink Stella would be amazing. So there you go. That's one card I created. This is another card I created, and all, there you go, based on just this little bit of inspiration here. So same colors, kind of the same layout. I did take liberties with this one. I'm actually going to work on this card a little bit more. And what I'll do is once it's completely finished, I will post it in the comments or just even post it on my Facebook page. So I hope everyone has an incredible day. And I did send out an email this morning, a little newsletter telling you about the clearance rack refresh. Also, there are 4 days left to subscribe to the Tis the Season Paper Pumpkin Kit. I'm really excited about this Paper Pumpkin Kit. If you want to get a jump on your Christmas cards, this is a really good kit, quick and easy. If you want to get some friends together and create your kits, everyone get their kits and create them all together. I'm actually, for whoever subscribes to this month's kit before October 10th, so like I said, you only have about 4 days, I'm going to put together a special kit class, and provide some alternative projects. And you'll get the kits for the alternative projects as well. So it's kind of like a bonus and a way for me to say thank you. I appreciate you subscribing. And let's see, there was one other thing. Oh, kits. Yes. Oh my gosh, kits are amazing. Starting today, there is a kit. Oh my gosh, is it called Love Santa? It just came out today. I put it in my newsletter. I was so anxious to get it out because those kits are going fast. And I do believe it's called Love Santa. So if you don't have a copy of my newsletter, I do have the link posted in my Facebook. Click on the link. It'll take you to the actual newsletter. Hit the subscribe button and you'll get any email that I send out with all these different products, but also my classes, my class schedules that'll go out next. And then you never know. And also I put in notifications of my Facebook Lives. So anyway, oh, thanks, Peggy. I'm glad you liked the cards. And oh my gosh, I love the fact that you're joining in live. Thank you. All right, everyone, have a great Wednesday and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.